It's lights out and away we go. Verstappen gets the better start. Lewis Hamilton already catching his teammate George Russell, who's trying to get that slipstream behind Verstappen. So it's Verstappen from Russell, Hamilton with Perez.
Hola Formula One fans, welcome to Formula Pun Racer. Was that Mexican Grand Prix exciting or what? Well, say what you want, but I would say the event was very exciting. It gave me something a lot to talk about, especially. The day before the race, Canada's Lance Stroll of Aston Martin may have celebrated his birthday, to which I say, happy belated birthday, Lance. I hope you had a great birthday party that day. Sadly, starting dead last was not a much better race for him compared to the United States Grand Prix. And on top of that, neither he nor his German teammate Sebastian Vettel finished in the points, so tough break for Aston Martin, eh?
Oh, come on!
And as for the two Chucks of the Italian Stallion team, which would be Charles Leclerc of Monaco and Carlos Sainz Jr. of Spain, well, at least they finished in the top 10, but it was a race that even they too would like to forget because they were nowhere near close to the lead, and the Red Bull of Max Verstappen, spoiler alert, hogged the entire race, and like the bull it is, claimed the highest beefy steaks in Mexico.
But you think it's funny? You think losing is funny?
Well, not at first, but once you get the hang of it.
Yep, the other teams might as well laugh it off because Verstappen's dominance with Red Bull is just too damn good. Oh. And the reason I decided to mention the fact he already won the race this early in the video is because, well, there wasn't really much action on the track the entire race as he practically ran away with it. I'm just glad the Aston Martins at least finished the race even though they were outside the top 10, while Ferraris did better. I say this because I'm a Aston Martin / Ferrari fan tops when it comes to F1 rounds. And I can say that in other F1 news before I continue is the fact that while the Red Bull / AlphaTauri deal with Porsche has fallen through, and we have yet to know where Porsche will go in 2026, it has been confirmed that at the end of 2025, Alfa Romeo will leave Sauber Racing, which the Alfa Romeo team is called at this point, and the Sauber team, based in Hinwil, Switzerland, will team up with Audi. So that ought to be some good innie news with Audi, right? With Max Verstappen winning the Mexican Grand Prix for the second year in a row, he has now shattered Michael Schumacher and Sebastian Vettel's old record of 13 race wins in a single season. Max now has 14. And also, by coincidence, like last year, Lewis Hamilton of Mercedes finished second, and local boy Sergio Checo Perez of Red Bull finished third. And with Sergio Perez finishing third in the race, he has now moved 5 points ahead of Charles Leclerc in the Drivers' Championship for second. So Max and Red Bull have already won their respective championships. The championship runner-up is still up for grabs between Mercedes and Ferrari, and between Checo and Charles Leclerc. Anything can happen with 2 races left in the season. And the reason I also decided to spoil ahead because what other action occurred on the track? Well, midway in the race, McLaren's Daniel Ricciardo had it coming together with AlphaTauri's Yuki Tsunoda, with the driver from the Rising Sun coming off worse. And, ironically, it was him who hopped like a kangaroo while Ricciardo continued on with a penalty. But the sun would set on Tsunoda's chances of the race.
Oh, yeah.
What? And despite this penalty that was given to Daniel Ricciardo, he still managed to finish in 7th place.
What?
The other bit of action on the track, unfortunately, came at a cost to Fernando Alonso, the outgoing Alpine Renault driver heading to Aston Martin next year, when his engine gave out on him, and boy was he really upset.
Oh, come on!
With Max Verstappen winning his 14th race win of the season, it tells me one thing about the Flying Dutchman. Even though he's already won the championship, he decided to Vincent van Gogh for it. No doubt about it. I'm sure all of Max's rivals are probably going on a Rembrandt about this, of how they can't do better, and I'm sure both Rembrandt and Van Gogh would have loved to have painted pictures of Max Verstappen crossing a finish line a race winner. All the same, for all Dutchmen out there like Annalisa van der Poel, the Venga Boys, Femke Janssen and Jeroen Krabbe, if you're cheering on Max Verstappen, well, I'm proud to know that he's making the Netherlands very happy. And who knows, can he win a 3rd championship in a row in 2023? Let's find out. All the same, que feliciter to Max Verstappen for winning the Mexican Grand Prix. Or maybe I should say the Mexican Grand Prix, because Max Verstappen has taken it to the Mex in Mexico, and Max Verstappen has taken it to the Max in Mexico. It is a shame that people like Max Verstappen will never try his hand in IndyCar racing, let alone the Indy 500, because true, some people may say that Formula 1 is the pinnacle of motor racing. I beg to differ. I say the Indy 500 has more prestige than any F1 race because, well, it's been around a lot longer than Formula 1, but that's just my personal opinion. So, Max, you may be driving for Red Bull, but to not race on ovals and whatnot, I think that makes you a bit of a chicken. But Max, if you're watching this, sorry if I called you a chicken, but I'm just stating a fact about why IndyCar does have more interesting stuff to show than F1 in certain ways. That if you went to IndyCars, Renus VK would appreciate your company. And if you won the Indy 500, you get the Lion Dyke share of excitement. This concludes my video review of the Mexican Grand Prix. Congratulations to Max Verstappen for that salsa victory. If you enjoyed that salsa, this weekend on November 13th, it's time to samba. Further south, down at the Brazilian Grand Prix at the Sao Paulo circuit in Interlagos, the hometown of the legendary Ayrton Senna. It's going to be an amazing race, alright? The penultimate round of the 2022 Formula 1 season. Can Checo take runner-up position in the championship? Or can Ferrari maintain their second place in the Constructors' Championship? Well, it seems more likely that Max will win this race fair and square. But anything can happen, as this race calls for rain, but hopefully that will stay away. Nonetheless, when it gets wet, it'll be a decisive factor in who finishes where in a race. Thanks for watching my video, everyone. If you like my videos, please subscribe to Formula Pun Racer, and hopefully my next video will be a lot more humorous, as hopefully more action will occur. And as for, once again, those who enjoyed the Mexican Grand Prix, I say, so long F1 fans, soy Aran Cylinder, disparando a todos los cilindros.